Live from Blanco Cocina Cantina on KDUS AM 1060, it's time for Dugout Chatter. It's the season finale, not the series finale, the season finale of the program here tonight as we get ready for postseason play to get going this weekend. Braden Bell joined alongside head coach Willie Bloomquist of the Arizona State Sun Devils. And coach, before we dive into postseason play, which is right here, right now, let's talk about that regular season finale series on the road against Houston. Another series win, another rubber match win as well. It was an intense series against a squad that really was playing with house money. They played really tough all three games through, but you guys ultimately came out with that series win 2-1. Kind of take us through that series as a whole.
Yeah, sure. And it's the season finale of our radio. I see a tear welling up in your eye.
Very
so that's first and foremost. But getting back to Houston, going down there. Just watching video on those guys prior to that series, I knew it was going to be a tough series. I knew it was going to – they're much better than their record indicated. You look at the score finals of every one of their games, and they were in every single one of them. There's a 1-run or 2-run loss, low-scoring games. Like, these guys were not bad. So I think the common perception was, we're going to go down there, we're going to sweep these guys, and it's going to be an easy series because they're in the cellar. I looked at that film and went, man, this is going to be a tough one for us. And we got to lock our guys in and get them focused. And again, a dangerous team is a team that really doesn't have much to play for and just free and easy, which Houston was at that point in time. They were eliminated from the conference tournament. And, man, there was one of two ways this was going to go. It was either going to be a dogfight or we were going to steamroll them. And it turned out to be a dogfight the whole weekend long, and which kind of what we were expecting. So, very talented team. Record didn't indicate how good they were, in my opinion. That's one of the tougher teams that we've really played, I think. And they're a player or two away from really being, a force in our conference. And it just goes to show you how deep our conference is, top to bottom. If they're the cellar dwellers, and they played us tough right down to the wire. So, but a lot of guys had to step up. Obviously, we had, in early weeks, we didn't want to move Cole Carlon out of his Friday spot. We had to go rely on Colby Guy, which had an unbelievable start on Thursday. And then going into the remainder of the weekend, we were expecting Carlon and Klecker, who we ultimately got an inning and a third out of both of them. Obviously, Cole had a little bit of a stiff arm there that we took him out on Friday, and then Klecker had the food poisoning episode on Saturday. And so when you look at the whole result of that weekend, that we walked away with yet another series win on the road, and we didn't use our 1 and 2 starters, and we still got out of there with a series win. Tribute to our guys for digging deep and figuring out a way to get it done. Yeah,
no question about that. All three games, like you said, they were dogfights. They were close games. Obviously, the game on Saturday, the series finale, ended up 8-3 in a win, but it was a game that was closer than that for most of the ball game as well before the offense really got it going. You mentioned the pitching stepping up with, obviously, both Coles, Carlon, and Klecker barely providing anything due to those two, the injury and the illness. In terms of other guys, though, Colby Guy will be joining us later in the program. You look at a Colin Linder, a Jaden Alba, who started on Saturday and threw the ball really well. That seems to be a really nice sign of things to come because you know better than anyone, rounding into the conference tournament and then hopefully into the regional and who knows where beyond that. You're going to have guys step into bigger roles and produce at that level.
Yeah, we knew going into this thing, and this has kind of been some strategic, some just coincidence of how it's happened, but we knew we were going to have 4, maybe 5 starters or guys capable of giving us length if we're going to run the table and do what we want to do. And how it worked out, this weekend with the short week, we felt comfortable with how Colby Guy has been throwing the ball lately. That we're like, he's used to starting. He's had a heck of a career as primarily a starter. This could be another guy that we depend on here in the postseason. Let's give him a shot on Thursday rather than bumping everybody up and getting them out of their routine. Let's start him on Thursday. He delivered in a massive way and gave us a lot of length on Thursday. Obviously, we had, Carlon go down a little bit early on Friday, and then, you can't say that enough really about the job Jaden Alba did on Saturday in the absence of Cole Klecker, who had food poisoning, was up all night with a swollen throat and throwing up, and all those factors that come into it, that where it's like, well, Jaden, you got to step up, kid, and And a lot of people don't know our season was essentially in large part on the line on Saturday, and the outing that he gave us. Can't say enough about how he stepped up and picked us up right there. So, but at the end of the day, what do we have? We have Colby Guy that's capable of starting. We got Cole Carlon, capable, obviously, of starting and doing damaging things. We have Cole Klecker, who's been great all year, Jaden Alba. We have those guys now, Taylor Penn, another guy that's lengthened out. We have guys lengthened out to give us that length that we're going to need if we're going to do what we want to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and that's going to be something very important now rounding into this next part of the season. Something we also have to talk about that happened at the Houston series. It seemed like it was inevitable for many weeks. Then there was a little bit of a stretch with no home runs, but Landon Hairston ended up tying the single-season home run record with 27, hit 2 over the weekend against Houston, tying Mitch Jones back in 2000 for that record. 54 games is what he accomplished that in, of course, with those 2 cancellations. So we've talked about Landon so much, of course, but for him to accomplish that feat in the final regular season game of the year, obviously going into the postseason, probably will break that, we hope, but it's got to be pretty special. What did it mean to you to be a part of that moment, obviously getting it done on the road and in the final game of the regular season?
Well, he obviously had 25 home runs, 4 or 5 weeks ago, right? And everyone anticipated him breaking this record. And, that's for a 19-year-old kid, that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, and obviously getting thrust right into the spotlight of this Golden Spikes, potential winner and all these different things. And it's like, man, I've said it all along. Landon Hairston is just a good, pure hitter, right, who happens to hit home runs. Home runs come in bunches, right? And so, everyone was asking frequently, what's going on with Landon? How come he hasn't hit a home run? It's like, man, the dude's still getting 2 hits a game. He's still getting on base. He's still doing everything that he's supposed to do. It's just he's not going over the fence, so you guys think he's in a slump. He's still hitting 440.
Yeah.
He's not in a slump. He's doing what he's supposed to do, and the home runs are going to come in bunches. And when he starts trying to hit home runs to appease everybody is when he's going to go into a slump. So stop, right? And, of course, everyone wants to see him break this record, and he wants to break it too. But at the same token, just go play and be yourself. And I think he did an outstanding job of not chasing outside the strike zone, taking his walks, taking his base hits, and still being a catalyst to helping us win baseball games. And that's what I'm most proud of him about. Obviously, the record is the record. Everybody wants records to be broken, and everyone gets focused on that stuff. But I focus on the fact that this kid has been a great teammate. He's been a phenomenal kid that's hit the top of the lineup and been a table setter who happens to hit home runs the whole entire year. And so for that all to come to fruition on this weekend, and him hitting a home run, and then obviously on Saturday tying the record, I was so enthralled in the game, and meaning that this is a game we got to win,
right,
that I didn't really get a chance to celebrate the fact that you just tied the home run record at Arizona State. It was more of a let's go get another one, right? Let's go score again. We got to win this game, more so than it was to celebrate Landon. And I think he, in his own way, wanted that as well, where it's like, dude, it's about us. It's about this team. So tribute to what kind of young man he is and how he's been raised and the culture that he's in and playing in Arizona State. That's what the team's bigger than we. It's we bigger than me sort of thing. And he's epitomized that throughout the entire year.
It's been awesome to watch him contribute. And like you said, even though he hasn't been hitting the home runs at the insane clip he was earlier in the year, he's still contributing in a big way, and obviously as a leadoff guy, it's been awesome to watch. Chatting here with Willie Bloomquist here on Dugout Chatter. Another really great performance, just overall in the regular season I wanted to take you through. 36 wins, 19 in the Big 12, but a couple other stats that I think didn't really get talked about enough. 11-2 overall in weekend series. That's a very rare record overall. It shows your winning series, and obviously that's what's going to matter rounding into postseason play. Didn't lose a road series. That's the first time since 1982 for this program. 6-1 in rubber matches. I mean, the stats go on. Overall, though, like you said, it was a huge game of the series finale against Houston. You got that done. But now that you turn the page into the postseason, I guess we can kind of reflect a little bit on the regular season accomplishments and where we're trying to go next. But overall, winning series is the key in this game, and you guys have done a really good job of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot can be said about some of the games that are quote-unquote thrown away this year and games that we should have won. Yes, of course, that happens across a baseball season. I think you look at every major college in the country, they've tripped up and stubbed their toe on a game or two throughout the year, and we're no different, right? These kids are 18 to 22 years old. They're going to have days where they come out flat and they don't win a game they're supposed to win. And that's happened from time to time. But the main thing is when you look at the body of work that these young men have done throughout the year and gone undefeated in road series on the entire year, the first time since 1982. Do you guys realize how long that is? I mean, that's a long, long time. That's older than I am old almost, right? So the accomplishment that these guys have had in a lot of areas is really outstanding. Yep. And it goes kind of unnoticed because there has been some games that, dang it, we should have won that game. And, they got the naysayers and the people out there that like to boo and that type of stuff. But when you look at the body of work that these guys have done, it's been pretty impressive. And with the ultimate, what we've had to work with, from a recruiting standpoint and bringing these guys in and forming essentially in this must-win now culture that we're in, where you have to bring new guys in and older guys experience and getting them to buy into a certain culture and create a winning team in 1 year. It's been pretty impressive what these kids have done, and just super, super proud of them. We're one of 4 teams in the entire country to win 16 or more conference games 4 years in a row. Arkansas, Oregon, USC, and Arizona State. That's a tribute to the players. That's a tribute to our recruiting coordinator, Sam Peraza, bringing the right type of guys in here and forming a culture and a team that expects to win. And when you focus on the conference, which you're supposed to do it as a Power 4 team, and win those games in conference and keep towing the line every day on the weekends and winning series, good things happen. And, I'm just super proud of these guys staying the course. And at the end of the day, the numbers speak for themselves.
Without a doubt, and I'm glad you said all that. And I'll say this, and I know you're going to agree with me as well, whether it's in the Big 12 tournament or in a regional, nobody's going to want to see Arizona State. There's no question about that. The talent you guys have, and we've talked a lot about trying to play that best baseball at the right time. Now we're in that right time, and hopefully that best baseball is to come still. We're going to talk with your ace when we come back, though. Cole Carlon is going to join us on the program. Tempe's own, the left-handed pitcher for the Sun Devils, will join us when we come back. Back here on Dugout Chatter from Blanco, Cocina, and Cantina here on KDUS AM 1060. Braden Bell joined now by the ace of the Sun Devils staff. He is a Valley native, born and raised in Tempe. Cole Carlon joining us on the program. Cole, thanks for being here. A return guest on the program.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited.
So here we are, man. Like we were just talking about with Willie, getting into postseason play with the Big 12 tournament starting this weekend, often surprise, and then off to a regional as well. Obviously, all questions are leading to your health and the importance of that. So even though you came out of the game just an inning and 2/3 into the Houston start, you feeling okay? How's the situation there?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Honestly, I felt like it was I got a little more rest now, I guess, because I went through 1.2 innings because just kind of like some arm fatigue, some tightness. So it was more of like a precautionary thing to make sure I'm good to go for the postseason. So, yeah, no worries in my mind at all. So.
That's great news, and I think a sigh of relief for all fans of this program, because watching you pitch, not only this year, but really over the course of your entire career here, has been so much fun. But this year specifically, watching you progress into a starting pitcher and maybe some of those early question marks people had, doubters had, you've silenced them throughout the year, and what has been an ultra-impressive year as that Friday night guy. I guess kind of rounding into where we are right now, what has been that one thing that you can kind of look back on and say is the key to the season you've had so far?
I would say kind of getting physically ready to kind of go further into games. I think that was the main focus for me, was making sure that my body and arm was ready to go 5, 6, 7 innings for the whole year, and just kind of make sure I'm always on go for every single pitch, and just focusing on execution and staying with my plan and not taking any pitches off. So that's been the biggest thing, and you kind of have to really be locked in for every single pitch when you're going out for multiple innings. You can't let one thing slip. So,
well, and I think I'm glad you brought that up, because obviously you're the guy, on the mound. You're the person people are looking at, and it's easy to look at the work you do, but there's a whole team behind you as well, in terms of the strength and conditioning staff, sports science, nutritionists, everything that goes into it. That is also something that starts way before the season to get you built up to be able to pitch the way you have this year.
Yeah, 100%. There's been a lot of people that have helped me definitely get to where I need to be to get ready for this. Obviously, Ted and Jesse, our strength coach and trainer, and even our nutritionist, Katie, has helped me a lot with I had some cramping problems kind of early on in the season, and just making sure I'm hydrated and ready to go for every Friday has been big for me, and I've been great ever since then. So.
I think this season has had so many great moments, right? You think of the grand slams, you think of some of the big home runs that have happened over the course of the year. Your reaction and your AB really against Colin Ritchie against Oklahoma State, I think, is one that fans are going to remember, and I'm sure you're going to remember for a really long time as well. We talked to Willie about that last week, and he had mentioned the conversation you guys had when he walked out to the mound and how you told him, look, you're not going to do this in Omaha.
Yeah.
You're not going to do this now. But just take us back through that moment, man, because 7 innings of work, your pitch count was high early in that game. You're facing one of the best hitters, not only in the conference but in the country, in Colin Ritchie, and you strike him out to end it. You were as fired up as I've ever seen you. Just how cool was that moment?
Yeah, I was definitely really emotional in that moment, and that was probably also the loudest I've ever heard Muni when I was pitching. I was like, dang, this is really cool. I gotta go do something special right here, and my whole goal was to strike him out. I didn't want him to make contact at all. So I was really excited for that, and Bloomy was gonna have to probably take me to the ground to get the ball out of my hands. So I was pretty fired up after that moment too.
Out of your cold headed hands, right?
Yeah, and then the next guy, of course, gets a hit. So I was like, all right, but it's fine. I knew I wasn't worried at all. So yeah.
Cole Carlon joining us on the program. It's also been fun to watch you this year. Obviously, when you're a reliever, we might see you for 1 or 2 innings, and it's hard to kind of build up that swagger that you're able to do as a starter when you're in there for 5 or 6 or 7 innings, as you said. And this year, thinking of that Oklahoma State game or even that BYU outing you had, some of these starts you've had where you've really thrown the ball well, it's fun to see that confidence. You can see it, whether you're in the broadcast booth or in the seats as well. Now you're into the postseason where every pitch is amplified. Everything matters so much more. How are you able to kind of harbor those emotions and not be overamped, if you will, in the biggest moments?
Yeah, for sure. I think that was a big part of kind of my struggles early on in my career here. I was definitely kind of overwhelmed by the adrenaline that I had, and I think especially last year, being able to learn how to use my adrenaline for a good thing and to be able to direct it towards the hitter and not towards myself and get too out of control has been important. And I think the Oklahoma State game, I was kind of not myself with my command early on, so I think I was able to kind of lock back in and use my adrenaline that I got towards the end of the game to really focus and execute how I need to.
I'm glad you brought that up because not everyone realizes this, but it's hard. When you're a veteran, you can rely on past experiences, obviously, but especially as a pitcher when you don't have your command at the beginning of an outing and you have to go back and try to find that, whether it be in between innings or during a mound visit, whenever it may be, you got to try to get back into that rhythm, whether it's mechanically or what have you. How do you kind of go about that? I'm always curious how a pitcher's able to try to lock back in. The great ones obviously are able to do so, but I'd say more often than not, it might linger and affect an entire outing. It seems like you're able to kind of fix in game, though.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I feel like every outing's different. You're never going to feel quite the exact same. You have to kind of figure out what you got, make adjustments from there. And I was just kind of trying to be a little too fine early on in the game, nibbling a little too much. So I was just kind of telling myself, I'm just going to let it eat right down the middle and then let my slider and other stuff play off that. So I kind of had to go a little bit more back to the basics.
Cole Carlon joining us here on Dugout Chatter, and I'd say, letting your stuff do the talking is not a bad idea. Cole is 4th in the nation in strikeouts and 4th as well in Ks per 9, striking out nearly 15 hitters per 9 innings this year. The slider of yours gets a ton of conversation. Obviously, the fastball velocity is great, but your slider gets more swings and misses than almost any pitch in all of college baseball. So take us through that pitch, where you learned it, how you throw it, and why do you think it's so devastating?
I kind of started throwing it when I was in Alaska.
Okay.
Just trying to make sure I was getting a little bit harder. That was kind of an emphasis my freshman year. It was kind of slow. It was kind of low 80s. So you can get under 80 a little bit. So I just needed to make sure I threw it really hard and just focus on that. And then when Jeremy started working with me, he was kind of, with all the TrackMan data that we have, he was kind of showing me how it works and ways to make it better. And then over the course of my career, I've just been able to lean on it and trust it and just really make sure it's really been my best pitch. So just kind of go with that a lot of times.
Cole, you're a serious cat on the mound for sure, but are there ever times when an opponent has a wild swing and miss, which happens often against you, where you're like, man, I got him good there? Do you ever think that way in your head, or you're just fully locked in?
Honestly, I'm more kind of like thank you, because it's definitely the count turns in my favor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice when you can get people to chase on pitches that are a little further away from the zone than normal. So it's definitely a benefit. But yeah, it's kind of like thank you. Like that was not where I wanted that, but.
We say it all the time, but it just looks like hitters are so uncomfortable against you, right? Whether it's the fastball, whether it's a slider, whether you drop in a curveball or a changeup, no matter what, like it doesn't seem like many hitters are looking forward to facing Cole Carlon, and I understand why. Being a native of the Valley, obviously that's something that's got to be special, pitching for ASU, and not only doing so coming in from a transfer, but being here for all 3 years of college baseball so far. You know it, I'm sure, that there are so many young fans of ASU baseball that are coming out to Muni every single weekend. Do you ever take the time to really think like, man, they're looking up to me. They're seeing me out there on Friday night. They're going to want to be like me some days. Do you ever reflect on that?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was a little kid going to ASU baseball games too, and I never really kind of pictured myself playing there when I was that little. I was like, oh, like this is super cool, and then obviously as I got older, and I was like, this is where I want to be, but. Obviously, like it's super cool to be able to be a role model to younger kids who are wanting to play baseball at this level. So it's really special for sure.
And I got to ask you as well about your high school alma mater, Corona del Sol. So we got a state championship game on Tuesday against Hamilton. I'm saying we. I don't have a dog in the fight other than I do have a relative going to Corona del Sol. So maybe I do. But what would you say if you were to give a speech to the boys? I mean, they're coming off. They're trying to go back-to-back as well.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool for them to win. Coach Webb and Coach Vesley, they were awesome mentors for me when I was in high school, and I would just say, Hamilton always beat us. I don't think I ever beat them when I was in high school, so I just tell them to go out. It's the last game of the year, no matter what. So just go. Don't leave anything on the field, and you won't regret what happens. So
yeah. By the time this airs on the radio, of course, it'll be Wednesday, so we'll know who won. But as we're recording this here on Monday. I got to say go Aztecs. I know I said I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I think I do. Cole, I'm curious in terms of we've talked about your swagger, your style pitching, obviously. In terms of pitchers you looked up to, maybe who you modeled your game after as a kid or even now, what were some of those names?
I think a couple that come to mind are when I was in high school, like Nolan Ryan. There's like a documentary about Nolan Ryan that my dad showed me. I really like watching him pitch. Now, like Tarek Skubal, I think just kind of how he goes about pitching. I've watched a lot of videos of him talking about pitching and stuff like that. Just kind of how he goes about it is really fun to watch and listen to. And he's obviously the best left-handed pitcher in the nation. So there's no one better to watch. So I'd say those guys.
Yeah, Arizona guy as well, up north in the state too, is Tarek Skubal. Last one for you, Cole. In terms of where you're at when you're on the mound, talking to you off the mound is one thing, but you're a different cat out there when you're pitching. Take us into that headspace, right? Because you got to kind of transform into that alpha, that ultimate competitor, that guy that is going to look 1 through 9 through the lineup and say, my stuff is better than your swing no matter what. You're not going to get a hit here. How do you transform into that person away from the quiet-tempered guy that you are maybe off the field?
Yeah, I would say, it's you versus the hitter. Like I'm not gonna let that guy beat me, and there's no chance. So I'm gonna go after him with everything I have, and sometimes if the situation calls for it, you get amped up. You kind of have to have some feel, and not give the other team like fuel, I guess. But I guess just kind of feed off energy from my teammates in the dugout, and just kind of. How I'm going about it, pick up some strikeouts, you start feeling it a little bit, and you just kind of go from there. The crowd, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of all in the moment and however you're feeling, and then you kind of have to go from there with what you got with your stuff-wise. So, yeah, it depends on the outing, but it's definitely a lot of fun being out there.
So I will report this to whoever plays ASU. It is not a good sign that Cole Carlon said last week was some extra rest. That is not a good sign for opponents. Cole, thanks a lot, man. It's been awesome watching you pitch, not only this year, but last year as well. You rep the Valley in a great way, and I know very bright things are ahead for you as well. So congrats on everything, and let's keep it rolling through this next month too, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cole Carlon joining us on the program. We stick with the pitching theme, and when we come back, a transfer into the program, Colby Guy, who was big this past weekend for the Sun Devils, will join us on Dugout Chatter. Back here on Dugout Chatter from Blanco Cocina and Cantina here in Tempe. Braden Bell joined alongside our next guest. It's another pitcher for the Sun Devils, and he's a right-hander who got the ball and pitched really well in Game 1 of the series against Houston. Out of Chester, South Carolina, he's a first-year Sun Devil, Colby Guy, joining us on the program. Colby, thanks for being here, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. So let's talk about that outing you had against Houston, because it was a really good time to step up and have your longest outing of the year and the most pitches you've thrown of the year. 5 innings, just 2 earned runs, and 78 pitches against Houston. You just heard your coach, Willie Bloomquist, talking about it. It was a must-have series for you guys, and you kind of set the tone right away on that Thursday. What did that outing feel like? And obviously you were in a pretty good rhythm out there. Just how much did that mean to you?
Yeah, I felt great. Finally, getting to start in over a year, and finally just getting to provide for my team in any way I can. It was a weekend I had to step up, and I feel like I just needed to go out there and compete. So it was very good to come back, and especially coming off injury last year. I was hurt, so I made like 2 starts, and just finally having that start again, it felt great.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that in terms of coming back to full health, transferring over from UNC Asheville, where you were a starter and a highly decorated one as well. But as a bullpen guy this year, even though you've worked some longer outings, to be that guy, like you said, to be that first person out on the mound, it has to be an adrenaline rush, man. So did you kind of get super amped up? How were you able to, we were just talking to Cole about the same thing, but harboring those emotions in terms of something, without a doubt, you waited so long to get back to?
Yeah. I thought about it a lot, but I also had to tell myself, like, I've done this a million times. So it was great. I was very excited just to go out and start the game. It was a different feeling, and it was pretty good. Yeah.
In terms of this part of the year in postseason baseball and the intensity of it, you can't script it. And obviously, you're an experienced guy. You've been around college baseball for a long time now, but it's your first time going into this part of the season as an ASU baseball player, and everything that brings to the table, right? And the fan base and the hype and everything that goes along with it. How excited are you to dive into this portion of the season, the part of the season you guys spent all year long waiting for?
Yeah, this is the reason I came here. I've never experienced this at any other program I was at. So when I was, getting recruited here, like, this is one of the main reasons I want to go to Omaha, and it's finally coming, and I'm ready to just go out there, and it's just adrenaline rush right now. So it's all things go.
Yeah, right. That's what it's all about right now. In terms of getting you to ASU, another person that comes to mind is Colin Linder, who came here while injured, got to rehab, then obviously has had a good year this year. You mentioned that injury you had last season, but this coaching staff still believed in you. They still brought you here. That had to do a lot for your confidence, right? Yeah. In a program believing in you, even though you were injured. It's not always that way, especially nowadays. Yeah. What did that do for you, knowing that this program, this coaching staff was still backing you?
Yeah. So, entering the transfer portal, it's a lot going on. And talking with the coaching staff here, Coach Bloomquist, it was just, when they took that chance of not seeing me play and they trusted me to come here, it was just like I want to be here. Just talking with them, and I could just hear everything they were telling me, and it was just, I was like, I really want to come to ASU. Being from South Carolina, coming to the West Coast, I was like, I'm going to take this risk, and I want to be a part of this program, and everything that the staff was telling me, it's all been true so far. So, yes, sir.
One of those deals where you're betting on yourself a little bit, going a long way from home, a long way from anything and seems like you said, it's been a decision you certainly do not regret in something that it's been awesome to watch you pitch this year is just that confidence you show out on the mound as well. And,
yes, sir.
And knowing that you've reached this spot, right? It's big-time college baseball.
Yeah. It's just everything I've dreamed of. I can, I've started my freshman year, I was a two-way and hitting and pitching and stuff. But, when the lights come on, I just try to do everything I can. It's like it's my last season. And I just want to go out there and just leave everything out on the field. So
you mentioned being a two-way. It leads into my next question, starting off at Jackson State, then on to UNC Asheville. Sun Devil fans last year got used to seeing Kyle Walker, who transferred from Grambling, another HBCU. Obviously, that is not the normal pipeline, I would say, to come play college baseball at Arizona State. But now we saw Kyle do great things in pro ball right now, and yourself now this year. Did you get the chance to talk to Kyle at all before this year? What did he say about his experience and why ASU?
Yeah, I talked to him when I was, getting recruited here, and he was like he was a big reason why I came here. Coming from the same conference we were at, and he came here and did what he did. I was like, I can be that. I can do the same thing. So I talked with him a lot and talked to some other guys, Brody Briggs, and everybody just made me feel comfortable to make my decision to come here. Yeah.
Chatting here with Colby Guy, right-handed pitcher for ASU, although we would have said middle infielder if it were a few years ago. In terms of being a PO, pitcher only, for those non-baseball fans out there, I got to ask, and this is kind of a running question on the program. We ask every reliever this question: who's the best hitting pitcher? I know Cole Carlon is a pretty good option. What would you say?
I don't know. We haven't had any pitchers beat this so far this year. I don't know, Cole. I don't know. I'm gonna take my chance on myself.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that chance on myself.
That's exactly what I wanted, because every time I ask this question, everyone always says someone else, which is great. You guys are close. That means you're good teammates. But I wanted someone to say I'm the best hitter. That's what I wanted to hear. So good answer there. You spent a couple of summers on the Cape.
Yeah.
Cape Cod Baseball League is prestigious. It is right there at the top in terms of summer ball league. Last year in Orleans, which an unbiased, this isn't about me, but I spent a summer there as well. Special place. What are some of the things you took from your time on the Cape, and specifically in Orleans, and how you were able to kind of hone things in for a college season? Because it is a proving ground. That place is crawling with scouts each and every night.
Yeah, going up there, I went 2 summers in a row. Started off at Falmouth, and then my next summer was Orleans. But it's just, playing with the best talent, showing yourself you can go compete with these guys, and really just enjoying the time up there. It was great. The teammates, the people, meeting everybody from different teams, conferences. So it was just great just going out there, just showing yourself that, I can do this and I can compete with the best guys in the country.
You lobster roll guy at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. You like them hot or cold?
Hot.
Okay.
Yes,
yep,
sir.
that's a good take. I like that. In terms of transferring over from the South, as we already said, Chester, South Carolina, both your previous universities were in the South. You come out here to the West Coast in Arizona. What are some of the things that you like about the West Coast? Not necessarily baseball related, just in general, that maybe you didn't expect about moving out here to the West?
Just the weather. It's always sunny here.
Yeah.
The people around the community, it's great. I looked up. Well, I didn't look up. I live in downtown Phoenix, so I don't really get to enjoy the Tempe area that much. But it's been a great time out here so far, and just the weather and just other stuff. The teammates. I've tried hiking for the first time.
Okay.
So, and I really can't fish that much here because it's too hot. So, but yeah, besides that, it's been good. Yeah.
You need to ask your coach about that. He'll probably give you some spots maybe around. I know he's an avid fisher, but as well. I'm not going to out you too much here. Okay, I am. But I noticed you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I know. I'm sorry. I got to ask, though. So this is a question of, as a player, it is a game day. We'll say it is a Sunday in the fall. Would you rather trade places and be in the shoes of Dak Prescott or CeeDee Lamb?
I got to go Dak Prescott.
Why?
Just because quarterback, former baseball player.
Sure.
Dak Prescott for sure. I watch him a lot. I think CD. I don't know, but I have a biased opinion on both, but definitely Dak.
Okay.
Definitely Dak.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, I don't know if I should out him as a Cowboys fan. I know that's controversial, but I know a lot of you Cowboy fans like to talk about it, so I'll give you that opportunity. This is just a basic one as well, chatting here with Colby Guy on Dugout Chatter. Your favorite part about being a Sun Devil? I think that's a little bit of a generic question, but especially for a first-year guy, what are some of those things that really stand out to you?
Just learning the culture here, winning at everything you do, learning the history about the rival down in Arizona. I come from a Clemson, South Carolina rival, and so I come down here, and that rival is just as big. And Coach Bloomquist telling us the history behind it is really fired me up. So it's just going about how you go about your day and just being a great person on and off the field. So yeah.
Okay, so hopefully some more big memories to come for you individually and this team in the coming weeks. Obviously, we hope for that, but if you could reflect on the season that has been so far, maybe it's the Houston game, and it's fine if that's the answer, but what's that moment so far this year when you're like, okay, that's something I'm going to remember for a long time?
Definitely the game against GCU.
Okay.
I think I threw 3.2 out the bullpen.
The road game, right?
It was a home game.
Home game,
game, and I think we walked it off that night with Cohen.
Yep.
And I pitched 3 innings, and that was just the night I was like, I'm here. I'm finally playing for ASU, and it felt great.
He is here. He is here, and he's going to be very important out of the pen or in a starter or whatever it may be in postseason play that starts Thursday in the Big 12 tournament. Colby Guy joining us on the program. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
All right, Colby joining us. Now we turn it over to Willie Bloomquist for the final segment of the season when we come back. Back on Dugout Chatter from Blanco, Cocina, and Cantina here on KDUS AM 1060. It's the final segment of the year of this program. Braden Bell joined alongside Willie Bloomquist, who joins us yet again. I sounded excited when I said that, but Coach, you were right. I am sad about the end of the show. this season, but hopefully plenty more to talk about, of course, through the postseason. And that's what we're going to talk about right now with the Big 12 tournament starting up on Thursday. Often surprised. You don't have to fly back to Texas this year. It is right in our backyard. Yep, exactly right. It starts late night, 8 p.m. first pitch. Might be a little bit later than that. Who knows? Because there are 3 games before us on Thursday. But it starts with Cincinnati, a team that we did not play in the regular season. So a rarity there where you see a new face in the most important time of the year. But it's going to be an exciting time to have the tournament out there and surprise this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and obviously our focus is Thursday night. Got to win Thursday. It's a survive and advance type of format, and this will be fun. It'll be a challenge for our guys. We're playing an extremely tough opponent, right out of the gates in Cincinnati. They're a team that started off a little bit, played a very tough schedule early on. It took them a while to kind of catch their fire, which they have done, and they play a very challenging style of baseball. They have a lot of bunting, a lot of base running, a lot of tricky stuff on the bases. And then this year they throw 3 or 4 guys in there that can hit the long ball too. Quentin Coates being their main guy that I think has 27 or 28 home runs on the year. And they got a couple other guys that can swing the pole a little bit too and hurt you with the long ball. So incorporating that into their offense is going to be very tough. They got some good arms that they'll run out there at you. Just another Big 12 team that is going to be a challenge and poses a new challenge for us. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's in our backyard. It's out in Surprise. Hopefully we get a lot of fans to show up there and support us. But either way, we feel like we're in very good shape to where we're at in finishing the regular season. And, right now this is just all – we would obviously like to make a nice run in this conference tournament, but this is all preparation for the following week. So, we're excited, but the main thing is get our guys healthy, continue playing, and hopefully we can make a run at this conference tournament because it would be a lot of fun. Yeah,
but the way it's set up, obviously getting the double bye helps, so you're only going to need to win but you need to win 3 games to win the conference tournament, and it is single elimination, as you said, so that's an interesting wrinkle that hasn't always been there in conference tournaments. Obviously the Big 12 rolled it out that way last year as well. But in terms of managing those games, knowing that, yes, it is single elimination, but you could also play tomorrow if you win it, how do you kind of manage both of those things while obviously needing to win the present game, but also potentially playing again tomorrow or in the case of this weekend, Saturday as well?
Well, I think, the first thing is the conference tournament's important. We want to go and have our best showing possibly that we can in preparation for the postseason, which we feel very confident we're in good shape there. So again, first thing is the health of our players and making sure we're at our firing all cylinders when we go into, a regional berth, wherever that might be. But at the same token, we want to win this sucker, right? Yeah. We want to go out and we want to play our best baseball every single day, and we want to peak at the right time because winning breeds winning, and winning baseball breeds winning baseball. So we understand that we are a team that has clicked on certain cylinders all year long, but at the same time, we want to click on all cylinders at the same time, and no better time to do that than now. And as we go into this conference tournament, we'd love to get on that roll. And we're very capable of doing that. And if we can, man, we're going to be a team that not a lot of people want to see in the postseason. So, but, the first things first is, like I said, we're going to go part of the strategy of us lengthening out different arms and using different guys on the weekend as we have, other than obviously Cole Carlon. We've used different guys in starting roles. And some people might say, well, they don't have a set rotation. Other people might say, well, we're lengthening out different guys.
Sure.
And for us, we're in good shape now because we didn't use, arguably didn't use Cole Carlon this weekend. We just stayed away from Cole Klecker with obviously a food allergy. Otherwise, we would have gone to him. But the result of that is we have him available to start on Thursday for us. We have the flexibility to either go with Colby Guy, Jaden Alba, or potentially Cole Carlon on Friday should we get past Cincinnati. And then we have plenty of reserves left for the finale if we get there. So we have a lot of options, which we're going to need not only in this tournament, but moving forward into a regional berth as well, as to where we potentially will need those guys as well. So this sets up good for us. I think our guys are excited about it. I'm excited about it, and we're in a win-win situation on Thursday night.
Yeah, it seems like everything kind of rounding into form, right? And you just addressed the depth of the pitching staff, but in postseason play, you're going to see pinch runners. You're going to see pinch hitters that are going to need to come up in timely situations. And that depth is something you've leaned on a lot this year, and obviously you think of some big moments where that depth, you think of Cohen Nikolai coming through with a pinch hit grand slam, or a Kai McGarry, whoever it may be. People have stepped up into roles so far this year already. How much confidence does that give you now that you're into the postseason, and those things are going to come into play, whether it's getting a bunt down, whatever it may be, everything amplified at this point of the year?
Yeah, it's just nice having those guys fairly sharp, to you can call upon them at any time knowing that, man, it's not like they haven't played in 5 weeks, and
right.
You're asking them to go in there and win a game for us. So these are guys we've tried to mix in there, try to keep sharp. I know a lot of them obviously want consistent playing time, of course, who doesn't? But on the same token, we got to win games, and there's certain matchups and certain roles that we have, looked at for different guys that can help us win this game. So as we go into Thursday, we're looking at that ballpark being a bigger outfield than we played in a while. So that factors in. Do we take a peek at getting Dominic Longo back in there and maybe moving Harry to left and playing that whole game where we have more coverage in the outfield. And let's be honest, Dominic Longo has been in the postseason and has had a lot of success in the postseason and understands it, right? He hasn't played in a few weeks, but this is a kid that can legitimately change the trajectory if he gets hot, right? He has that capability and adds dynamic part to our lineup if he can get hot. So we're looking at those different scenarios on who can really impact this thing to give us a chance to really do something special. And a lot of that goes into, thinking through, maybe overthinking it a little bit. But the good news is all these guys are sharp. They've all played. They're all getting their live at-bats throughout the week, and we feel confident with whoever we decide to go with.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Chatting here with Willie Bloomquist in the final segment of tonight's show, Dugout Chatter. It's that late evening window, like we said, an 8 p.m. start time on Thursday against Cincinnati. It would be that same time if we are to win on Thursday, and then championship game on Saturday would be much earlier. 4:30, I believe, would be the first pitch of that one. That is correct. Our producer, Sean Crespin, just said, so that was a good guess by me. Anyways, it seems as though in this conference, I was just looking at the bracket today, you could make a case for every single team to win it. It is wide open. It is right there for the taking for everyone. And that's an exciting thing, but it's also a stressful thing. I know you kind of just talked through, you want to win this thing for sure. You also got to think about the regional as well. But seems like this is going to be a really exciting weekend for fans to just come down and watch baseball as well, being in the area and being so close.
You're going to see some great individual players, and you're going to see some great teams. So this is something that I encourage the fans of the Phoenix area. Come out and watch, man. You're going to see a lot of really good baseball. You're going to see a lot of highly competitive baseball, a lot of teams that are, trying to jockey and put themselves in position for not only to win this thing, but in the postseason and the regionals. So guys are going to be giving it their all. If we want this tournament to stay in the Valley, we need fan support to go out there and pay attention and watch this thing. And I think you're going to see what we've been up against all year long.
Yeah.
You're going to see really good teams that were, a 12 seed that could arguably win this damn thing because they're a really good team. You're going to see a 9 seed that is like, holy cow, that dude throws 98 miles an hour. Yeah, everybody top to bottom has good players in this conference. I said it last year where I thought, the Big 12 was, not really a step up from the Pac-12 of the year before. In my opinion, it was very comparable. This year, I would argue that to where we are a much deeper conference than we ever were in the Pac-12 my first 3 years. Top to bottom, anybody could beat anybody. Just extremely, extremely competitive and a lot of good teams that are very well coached and just a lot of phenomenal individual players as well. So chance for everybody in the Valley to come out and see those players from different universities, different programs, and see a lot of good competitive baseball this weekend.
And meaningful baseball as well at that, which is always fun to watch for sure. That's out in Surprise, like we said, starting this weekend. Sunday night was the baseball banquet, Coach. I know that's kind of a fun event, a chance for boosters and supporters of the program to come out and meet a bunch of the players and coaches, and also some awards and some accomplishments to be recognized, things that happened throughout the regular season as well. It seemed like a pretty awesome event at the Omni Hotel in downtown Tempe over the weekend, and a chance to kind of celebrate what's happened so far. I know we talked about some of those accomplishments in the first segment, but it was an awesome night to be a part of that on Sunday.
Yeah, it was, and there's it's always a bittersweet time, right? Because it's we're trying to find the right time to do this awards banquet, and we've had discussions about potentially moving this to the following spring and do a kickoff the spring party. And the main reason for that is we're not done yet.
Yeah.
We still got work to do, and we don't want to celebrate our accomplishments and our awards just yet, because we know we still have work to do. We still have the whole season that we've been working for is still in front of us. However, that being said, we felt, this year may or may not be the last time we do it at the end of the season. We may move it to the spring the following year, but there's still a lot of cool things to celebrate, not only as our team, but as a bunch of individual guys that have had phenomenal years and really stepped up and come into their own as players, to acknowledge that and celebrate it. And I think that's important. I get a little bit emotional when I have that, awards banquet, because it's kind of a finality to say goodbye to some of these guys. And even though we still got some games left, it's like, man, I'm not going to see a Cole Carlon again, after this year. He's going to move on to bigger and better things. I'm not going to see a new Contradas again after, I've established relationships with these young men and have had, 3 or 4 years. We bled together. We've sweated together. We've gone through the highs and lows and been vulnerable with each other and shared stories about one another and where we've come from, and to not only celebrate their greatness, but also go, gosh, dang, I'm going to miss these guys,
sure,
when they move on to the next chapter. So for me, I'm not ready to say goodbye to them yet. I don't want to say goodbye to them yet, but on the same token, we have more work to do this year. But once this season finishes, and hopefully that's a deep run, but once this year is over, I'm just really, really proud of the work they've put in, the families that they've come from, the parents that have raised them, that have trusted me with their kids, to continue growing them and developing them, and guys like, Colby Guy, the guys that have just taken the leap of faith their last year, that just want to be a part of something special, that I wish I got to know longer after than just 1 year, but still are going to leave an imprint on me and my coaching career, however long that lasts. These guys have all put their fingerprints on me and my soul, I guess, to get spiritual, but it's just been really special for me. And there's always that awards banquet is always bittersweet for me, because again, we got more work to do, but man, I love these guys. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, no question about that. Hopefully a whole nother month, right, of this season.
That would be great.
Let's just make this go until the middle of June. Why not? Last one for you, Coach, and it's kind of talking about that. There's some good vibes already with the other diamond sport on campus. It's softball. They're off to a super regional. I know you have a good relationship with Coach Bartlett. They'll be at the super regionals at Texas this weekend. So they got hot at the right time. They won the Big 12 tournament. They won a regional this past weekend in College Station against Texas A&M. Run-ruled them in that final game. So have you gotten the chance to talk to Coach, and what do you think of the run they're on right now?
I have, and I will say, hell yeah, Megan. I am so freaking pumped for that woman. She has, she's dug deep and she works extremely hard and is more dedicated to her program as anybody. Just super proud of her, super proud of her girls and her whole coaching staff for, against a lot of odds, and against a lot of naysayers. She and I are walking parallel paths a little bit on some stuff, but for her to be a 6 seed going into her conference tournament, run the table, win that sucker, and then go down to a Texas A&M, a very tough environment where, our former coach Tricia Ford went, to go down there and take 2 from her on her home turf and come home victorious and getting ready to go back to Texas where she was previously. Yep. Man, what a cool way to just chop down all the blocks in front of her. And I couldn't be more proud of Megan and her girls for what they've done. It's just awesome for her. It couldn't happen to a better person. So hopefully we can follow suit, and they've set the stage, and now hopefully we can follow suit and make the same run that they've been on.
Couldn't say it any better. I think it's the right time, right? Softball set the table. Now it's off to you guys for the postseason. And, Coach, it's been a lot of fun, again, doing another season of these shows, man. It's always great to talk baseball with you, get to know you, and obviously your team as well. As we always say, you don't bring in turds. That's the quote, right?
We don't recruit turds.
That's the quote.
For sure.
And I think fans of this show would agree. It's been great to know getting to know a bunch of the new faces on the team this year, and obviously chop it up with you each and every week as well. And good luck on Thursday, and like we said, hopefully for the next month as well.
Well, I appreciate it, and again, thank you to you. I mentioned you last night along with several of the other media folks, Tim Healy and Max Rossiter and Money, those guys. You guys have all put, bring to light the games that we're all watching, that people are watching at home. And just thank you to you and to everybody for the continuous support of Arizona State baseball. This is a journey. It's a process. It's a path. And we're all just very privileged to be a part of it. So whatever role that is, whether you're head coach or a player or on the radio, whatever it is, we're all privileged to be a part of Arizona State baseball. So thank you.
Without a doubt. Thank you, Coach. Yep, Thursday, Big 12 tournament in Surprise. The postseason is here. We've had a great time on Dugout Chatter this season. Now the fun times begin. Postseason play. Thanks a lot for joining us. And stay tuned. More baseball to come for this week and next week to come. So long.